Bonjour, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Jamie Hughes Show. My name, as always, is Jamie Hughes, and I am possibly the greatest film reviewer in the world. And I don't know what accent that was, because Poirot's Belgian. But hello, welcome to the Jamie Hughes Show. My name, as always, is Jamie Hughes, and today I'm going to be giving you my review, if you couldn't tell from that awful impression, Murder on the Orient Express. Now, if you want to keep up to date with all my latest movie news and reviews, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always with my videos, this review may include spoilers, so you have now been warned. Before I jump into this review properly, I just want to say how really nice this film actually was, and it kind of warms the cockles of my heart that there is still a demand for movies like this and people still want to go out and support and see them. Now, I actually really enjoyed Murder on the Orient Express. I don't think it's as good as other incarnations and representations we've had of it, but it was still a really fun time. Now, obviously, my favourite thing about this movie is Kenneth Branagh and the biggest moustache in film history with his incarnation of Hercule Poirot. But Kenneth Branagh is so good as Poirot. He brought a real charm and a real kind of essence and an enigma around Poirot. But at the same time, this is really conflicting, but at the same time, he kept Poirot quite mysterious and quite enigmatic, but also in moments bringing out a real human side to him and bringing a lot of depth and development that, again, we've not seen in other carnations of Poirot, especially with him and his past relationship with Catherine, whoever his darling Catherine is. Apart from the charismatic Kenneth Branagh, there is also a stellar supporting cast in this movie. Really great performances from Daisy Ridley, Michelle Pfeiffer, Derek Jacobi. There is just a who's who of brilliant actors in this movie, and he's not in it for long, but even Johnny Depp does give a good turn in this movie as well. I did really enjoy Murder on the Orient Express. I've not read the book, so I wasn't really too sure what was going to be going on in it. I'm sure, like most other people, I've sat there with my nan on a Sunday night and watched the David Suchet versions that used to be on ITV. But, you know, I wasn't fully aware of what Murder on the Orient Express was about. I know it's about, obviously, a Murder on the Orient Express. The clue is in the name. But anyway, I thought it was a really fun crime caper. As I said, it had a real light-hearted element to the first half of this movie, and then as the story deepens and the characters start to develop a bit more, it did have a nice little shift in tone where the story got, to be honest with you, quite dark in places, and I really enjoyed that tonal shift from the early kind of jovial Poirot and jovial characters that are enjoying themselves to quite an actual dark and really quite upsetting and sinister story. Murder on the Orient Express is a classic whodunit, and I really think that this movie was handled with the real care and attention it needed to portray that on screen, and I think that really worked well. And I think for me, this movie is kind of in three parts for my enjoyment of it, because I really love the film's first act, the setting up of the train, the setting up of the story, you know, building a portfolio of all of the characters and all of the possible suspects. But then I do feel like it did kind of lose a little bit of its spark, and it did fizzle out towards the kind of second half of the film. It just kind of, I don't think it got lost in itself, but it just kind of lost its way a little bit. It just wasn't building enough tension for me, and then it just did feel like the false ending and the ending of this movie just crept up on you and came out of nowhere, and I wasn't really expecting it. I genuinely could have had another 10-15 minutes of building up a real list of suspects, because it did feel like we skimmed over a few because there are so many characters in this movie. But that being said, I think the way that this film ended and the way, you know, all of them are just sitting there on the table and he crafts out the story of what has gone on, I think that worked really well, and it was excellently delivered. And it really pushed my enjoyment once again over the edge, because I actually enjoyed that bit. So it was kind of peaks and troughs, this movie. Started off loving it, lost a little bit of interest in it in the middle. I think there was just, I know that there's 12 characters in the book, but I think trying to portray that in a 2-hour movie, having so many characters to focus on, maybe they could have skimmed a few out just so you could focus more on the kind of integral characters to the story. But, you know, having that reveal at the end, spoilers here, that it is all 12 of them and they all have a motive, works. So kind of conflicting reports there. The fact that I really love that there was 12 characters, but at the same time it did feel like a few of the minor characters suffered because we didn't get a full kind of motive as to why they were doing what they were doing in the middle of the film. But apart from that, it was really nice. It was a nice film. You know, as I say, to still have a demand for these type of movies, and for, again, I applaud Kenneth Branagh for handling this movie with such care and attention and keeping it true to the source material. I think that is really important, and there is a little bit maybe of a setup for a sequel in the end of this at the end of this movie. So hopefully we're going to see more of it. As I say, for the most part, I really enjoyed this film, and I genuinely want to see more of Kenneth Branagh as a Hercule Poirot with his big old mustache. So if you guys have seen Murder on the Orient Express, let me know what you thought about it. As always, down in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, why not subscribe? Because you'll be helping me out massively, and why not give it a like as well, because it lets me know that you enjoyed this review. And thank you very much for watching this episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. I will see you in the next one. Ta-ra!